There, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. Welcome to our Word of the Day series, where I've been taking your requests for words you'd like help to pronounce in American English. Today's request was for the words humidity and fluidity. This viewer was talking about how it was difficult for them to pronounce the ditty ending. So the suffix ditty has two flap sounds, and it's challenging. So we're going to look at these words as well as how native speakers typically say the phrase did he, in American English. We'll also look at the difference between American English pronunciation of these words and British English, other dialects, because these flap T's are a big part of how American speakers, native speakers speak, and understanding and using that pattern is something that might be useful for you. So first, let's just break down the sounds and the syllable stress in the words, and then we'll get into more details on the suffix here. In the word humidity, we have second syllable stress. So, excuse me, I dropped my pen. There you go, live from my office. Here's the pen. So humid, the mid syllable is stressed, humidity. That means that's going to be longer. It's going to have the clear I vowel. That just means I'm holding it longer. This other I vowel is going to be shorter in an unstressed syllable. Also, letter U in this word says not just the oo sound, but the U sound. So there's a glide there. And so thinking about that as being like the word you, then adding an H. You, hue. This is similar to words like few in American English, and it's another place where British and American English differ, whether or not there's a y sound in certain words. For example, American English knew, British English knew. In American English and British English, hue, humidity. So short on the hue, then we have a long mid, that's where our stress is. And then lastly, we have our ditty ending, and this is where the question is how to do this. Both of these sounds, the D and the T in this word, are produced as a flap, which means rather than a strong D or a clear T, that would be humidity, that's more the British pronunciation of that suffix. Americans are going to say humidity, and thinking about that as kind of this ditty ending might be useful for you. So we'll write it that way, humidity, and we'll see that this T is a flap and this D can be written as a D or a flap. Sometimes the IPA in the dictionary is not going to give you a good signal for what to do. So if you can find a native speaker to listen to, or if your dictionary has recordings of native speakers saying the words, you'll be able to listen for those flaps. I do also have a lot of help for knowing when the T is going to be flapped versus stopped versus aspirated in my online course, The Sounds of American English. You can check that out on speechmodification.com to get more into those details and help. But to be able to say this ditty, I recommend, if that's a challenge for you in these words, is just to build from that in the other direction. And so to talk about that, I want to talk about how we say the phrase, did he. In American English, we're not going to make a break there, and we're actually going to leave that H sound off. So rather than did he go, did he talk to you, or just did he, we tend to say diddy. That H drops, we link the two, and then we end up with this flap between the itty. For the linking, we end up with a flap. So trying that, ditty, midity, should be able to help you get that more smoothly. It is a light touch up twice, ditty, midity. Building it and approaching it by doing that first, then adding the rest of the word may help you be able to focus on getting those two flaps. So ditty, midity, humidity. Again, that was the American English pronunciation, British English, humidity, humidity. They clearly say that T sound with a little release of air. Then when we look at fluidity, interestingly, we don't have, we again have second syllable stress, but there's no consonant at the start of this syllable. And this letter U just says oo. So while this one said U, humidity, this one just says oo, fluidity. So it is also how we say the word flu, or you could write it this way, just the oo sound, no glide, fluidity. So my main stress is going to be on my id, and then I'm just going to have my idity, idity, ending again, fluidity. Same holds true for other idity words at the end. Again, building it up from ditty, fluidity, fluidity may be a useful way to approach that. So if you're interested in more ways that we reduce sounds, like did he becoming ditty, you might be interested in my Real Talk course that looks at written words and then how we link them and reduce sounds in fluid speech. It's not necessary to make those changes, but it sometimes makes it much easier to speak fluently because you don't need as much of a break between words, and it's how native speakers can move quickly, speak quickly, but still be clear and fluent. It also can help with your listening because sometimes if your brain is listening for did he and instead it hears ditty, it may not be able to make sense of how your speech is different than a native speaker's speech, and also it just helps clear up all of these little details that we tend to do as native speakers to make our speech more efficient and more fluent. Thank you for the request for the word humidity and fluidity. I think that was a useful topic, not just for pronunciation, but for some of those details of how we do those suffixes for the dity. One more comment to watch out for is, I talk about this in the suffix just ity, writing that as itty or itty. That for a lot of people, going from this lax I to the tense E is also challenging. So you can get some more help and practice for that in my American Accent 6-week course, as well as in my videos for words like quality, quantity. We have opportunity, quite a few of those in our Word of the Day series. The Word of the Day series is also a free online course on speechmodification.com that has the words as well as definitions. So you can work on pronunciation using these videos and see definitions for the words to help work on your vocabulary. Okay, I just wanted to mention that last little piece about the vowels there. You can get more help for those vowels in my videos on the vowels, both here on YouTube, on our channel, as well as in my Sounds of English course. I hope you'll check out those courses on speechmodification.com. I've made them all either free or available for under $2, just to make them accessible to help you take that extra step in improving your pronunciation and working on whatever level of American accent that you're interested in. I always focus on clear communication, being well understood, but a lot of times these little details are what trip you up, can affect your confidence, can affect your fluency in English, and it can be just useful to have those tips and tricks to improve. Thanks everyone who has subscribed to the channel, and especially those of you who've joined as channel members. We've been having some members-only classes lately opened up to everyone, so you can see how that perk works. If you click on join on this video, you can find out more about some of the other perks that channel members can get. And it's just a way to support the channel if you're interested and have been enjoying our classes and videos. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Word of the Day class, as well as on Friday, we'll have our live question and answer class where you can come and attend by ask your questions by typing in the chat, and I'll answer them for you live. I hope your week is off to a great start, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye everyone. Hope to see you tomorrow.